Okay, so, well, this was a very special film for us. Apart from the fact that thanks to all of you, this is now the highest grossing film in Indian cinema history. It's crossed $90 million already. And Australia features it as the 5th largest market for this film world over. So hats off to you guys. So if you have any questions, so we're just gonna try and answer those. And if you have anything from a production point of view or a business point of view, then I'll try and do that. So over to you. Who's first?
My sister and I were both from a Kashmiri Indian background. I just wanted to say for you guys, this is my friend Christina. It's her first time watching an Indian film, a Bollywood film, Yash Raj film. And the whole film, she cried, she sat on the edge of her seat. I'm actually getting emotional just seeing she cried at the last bit. I just want to say a round of applause to you guys. Fantastic. This film was much better than Dhoom 1 and 2 were absolutely amazing. Those two were as well, but I just said to her before, I said this one has just topped the charts. I don't know what you're going to do for Dhoom 4, but
When are you thinking about that?
Thanks a lot, and I mean, it's always good to hear stuff like that, and when if it transcends the language boundaries, it's really wonderful. I wish I had some airline partner would have offered you a ticket to Bombay.
we'll bring her, don't worry. We'll bring her.
Okay. Any question?
No, I'm still getting over the emotion.
Well,
Thank you.
the gentleman there, right at the back there.
Me? Right,
Yeah,
okay.
there's a mic coming to you.
No, I think I can be loud enough. How do you do two Amirs?
How do you do two Amirs?
How do you do that?
You know, I mean, there are two of them. I hope.
You didn't know that?
No, there's. I don't. Do we really need the mic? I think we can just talk and probably a little more into it. There's a technology now which allows us to keep the camera movement the same. It might get a little technical, but suffice to say that Amir did the performance, and once I did it with him because we needed him to react to another person. And then he came back and did a second performance with a monitor. So he was reacting to himself. And it's a motion control rig that you get. So that in that sense, the technology helped. In a lot of the stunt sequences, there is a body double who looks very close to Amir. And then we do some movie magic there. So let me not tell you all my secrets. Thank you.
Who's next? Okay, gentleman here.
Sir, first of all, I would like to congratulate you. It's an extremely beautiful piece of work. I would like to ask, how did you manage to maintain all of these beautiful elements from story, action, and dance performance? It's really, really tough. It's incredible. I'm speechless.
Thank you. I'm really honored and humbled. I think you manage by not thinking about them. If we start thinking that we've got a big task in hand and how to manage all that, I don't think. I think it has to happen kind of organically and kind of instinctively. And a film inevitably is that. You go and you take some instinctive choices and you really cross every body part and hope for the best. That's about it.
It had an incredible production quality. It was like to be honest, it's a really honor to see such a beautiful film because it just represents how far the Indian cinema has actually come.
Yeah, I've grown up watching. I've grown up watching more Hollywood than. I mean, I grew up with Mr. Bachchan's time, so he's my big hero. But I always felt that we say we make a lot of films. We make Indian films. Indian films are made. There are 1,000 Indian films every year, but we could never say with any confidence that we are at par in some manner of international standards. And now that the world is a much smaller place, I think all it takes is some amount of grit, and you have to stick there, and you have to say, you have to keep saying no. I don't like this. I want it this way, and then hopefully it happens. And I had a fantastic team. Nobody can make a film on their own, and I was very well supported. And just as a quick note, there's somebody who worked in this film who's from Melbourne. And the circus song that you saw, the one Malang, where Amir and Katrina are dancing, the person who trained Katrina for that is right here. That's Catherine Nietzsche. And when Catherine first came, so there is Melbourne in Dhoom 3.
I have a question, Victor. For you as a writer, where your inspiration came from to set it in the circus, and what was there something in your upbringing with circus that was
Well, I think like any good Indian kid, I went to a lot of bad circuses. But I've always been fascinated by the death-defying thing that Cirque du Soleil or that kind of modern circus does. And in an action film, I just felt that it brings a certain credibility for a circus artist to be able to do everything that he does. And then we designed more than the circus. I wanted to design the action sequences like a spectacle. So he's actually performing a circus for the city, and because that's what he is. He's a showman. So he's not going to just steal it in the middle of the night and go away without anybody knowing. That's pointless. He wants to put a spectacle out, and that is what it was. And I'm fascinated by the modern circus, and there are so many layers to it, because there is a face that he has for the world, and there is a face that he has, and that's what we as film people or as performers do. So there is a bit of that, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay, thanks. Okay, that gentleman there, he put up his hand first.
Hi. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you, and hats off to you guys and the whole team of Dhoom 3 and the whole team which has been associated with the past couple of movies as well. I mean, amazing job, and I've watched all the movies.
The first two.
Okay.
As well.
I've watched all the movies so far, and I'm really happy that I've seen all of them, and I'm really fortunate to be a part of it, just watching it, and I've seen how they've grown over the years to a stature which is, I mean, beyond imagination now. Just a very simple question. How was it working with Mr. Amir Khan? I mean, we all know he's a fabulous actor, but just we don't know how is he behind the scenes, and how, good of a person he is outside of work.
Please, I mean, I'm sure you or a lot of Indian fans, there's a lot of press about Amir as an interfering, megalomaniac or something, or Mr. Perfectionist. All of these things are very good. In my experience, he was wonderful to work with, and he's a fabulous human being. And while the film was on, he also did the other show, Satyamev Jayate, that he does. And that happened before I started the film. And when I saw it, and I told him that I have tremendous respect for somebody who is not only a star, but takes the fact that he's a citizen of a country and takes that social role a little further. So he's a great guy, and so are the rest of them. But Amir he's truly a unique person, and he's a very, very dear friend of mine now. So I'm very grateful that he was on, because otherwise I can't think of anybody else who would have been able to do this role.
Okay, answer your question.
Would you ever consider a female villain?
Absolutely. Let's, but that might be too realistic.
The lady here, yeah, okay, from Kashmir.
Well, I am a fashion designer from, I do gowns for Miss Universe, Miss World in Australia, so I have a creative background, so I kind of understand where you're coming from and what goes into, making a film and trying to bring out the creativity. I was amazed at the way, first of all, Katrina Kaif's costumes were absolutely amazing, but not only
I did all of them, yeah.
not only Katrina's costumes, but also Amir's, each of the twins. Who's involved in the wardrobe, and how are you involved in terms of bringing out the personality of the character in their wardrobe on screen?
See, I'm of the very firm opinion that whatever exists on paper, we work as a team, but I must be able to guide that thing through, because very quickly, and especially with costume, song, dance, and action, a film can start looking a bit generic, or it can just give you the wrong impression. Katrina's costumes were done by Anaita, who's done the other two Dhooms. The only thing I want for Amir's character, that I wanted to be able to create two distinctly different looks because they are such different people. And I love old black and white Indian and Hollywood films. So somehow the hat came from there, and the hat comes from the showman, like a circus guy, and he dresses in a waistcoat which is sharp and yet casual enough. So just that kind of an edge that you bring through, and of course, then the costume designers take that one step further, and you have to sing a note to them, and somebody sings it back to you. And then you say yes, no, maybe, things like that. But yeah, it's great to hear, especially from somebody like you who's part of that business.
Answer your question.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Oh, that poor child's asleep.
One last one, if you don't mind. How long did it actually take from the beginning to the end?
We haven't ended, and we'll just go.
It took pretty much 3 years of my life. So I think I learned more about myself along the way than about filmmaking. I think that you can never really learn. You go every day, and every time I come out, I see another film, and I say, wow, everybody's moved ahead. So I hope I can keep pace. But yeah, 3 years from the time that I narrated to Amir to the end of the release of the film.
The lady there.
So when writing the script, what made you decide to kill them off at the end? I was half expecting, like in the previous ones, that they'll come back and, somewhere.
There were, honestly, for Dhoom 3, the idea from the beginning was I didn't want to revisit anything that I'd done in the past. I think what we've done earlier, they've been entertainers, but they never touched me either, emotionally. They were set pieces. They were nice, big, and I'm older, there's a different space in my life. So the note of the film was anyway a little dark. And if they went scot-free, that kind of repudiates the whole law and order machinery across the world. And yet I know that it's a little dark and it's downbeat, but that was their only redemption. And that's the only thing I could think of that seemed true to the story, and it stays true to what the germ of the film was, rather than, go full filmy and say, oh, they had a tragic past, but now they're fine. They're living in Bahamas somewhere. That would have been.
Anyone else?
Just following on from that, what made you continue on after that scene for the girl to take over the circus? Because I thought the idea of the twins continuing on the circus was living up to their father's reputation. I'm not sure she's got the same kind of hold on the circus.
Yeah, what we had was that since that was the dream that the father had, and the sons had brought it, and it was now up and running, she's the only likely suitor to this legacy. And since it was a dream, life continues. Life must go on. And the Great Indian Circus will continue to live now, whether it's just her or people after her. So that was the idea. And that's why the song, because we want you to leave the theatre feeling happy and with a smile instead of like that.
Should we? Any others, or should we? Okay.
Can I ask you a question? How do you manage to maintain all these amazing choices? Is it all instinct?
Well, it's largely instinct, and then sometimes you see some stuff, and if then there are tools, there's editing, there's music. But by and large, I'd say that, at least in my case, it's instinct. So you have to, you have to live or fall by it. That's about it.
Great. Can we wrap up with this? Can I just say thank you very much all for coming tonight and supporting this film.
And it's really wonderful to be here. For me personally.